This is brought to you by the Nigerian Institute of Town Planners FCT chapter.
Welcome to the Town Planning Program. Still on Eagles 102.3 FM Abuja. Yes, this is a town planning program where we explore the world of town planning and urban development. I believe this is a program where everybody would like to listen to, take notes to understand what town planning is and know what to do about it. And like I always say, I'm not the only one here in the studio. My name is Olubumi Ruben. I'm going to be the host for today, and I have distinguished personalities in the studio with me today. They are professionals and experts in their field. And with me, I have Town Planner Nathaniel Atevije. He is the immediate past president and fellow, Nigerian Institute of Town Planners. You are welcome, sir.
Thank you. It's a pleasure being here again.
And also seated is a very beautiful lady. Her name is Town Planner Oluwayinka Bello, member, Nigerian Institute of Town Planners. You're welcome, madam.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Ooh,
once again.
Nice voice. Nice voice.
Thank you.
Okay, last week we looked at understanding physical planning and the town planner. That was last week. We started with that last week. And today we're going to look at the part 2 of it. But last week we said that a town planner is a professional who specializes in designing and managing the development of urban areas to create a livable, sustainable, and functional community. So whenever you see a place that is beautifully made, beautifully organized, just know that a town planner has been involved in that creation. And now, sir, I would like you to just tell us, we did that last week, but just as a reminder to our listeners, what physical town planning is.
Okay, thank you again. Listeners, you are welcome again to this program. It is intended to educate you, to inform you, to sensitize you about the beauty of your environment, to ensure that you live in a safe, functional, beautiful, and economic space.
Yeah.
Now, the whole essence of planning, like we said, is to organize ahead of time, to make sure that the land resources you have around you are put into the most reasonable use at any point in time. Now, what are the things that you get out of that? Is you are sure that you are not going to waste any portion of land, because land is the basis of living. It is on land that we farm, it is on land that we work, it is on land that we live. And so if we do not organize these things so that they can work harmoniously, then we are in trouble. Then there is no safety, then there is no convenience, then there is no beauty. And so this is the whole essence of planning. And we are living today. There is a generation that is coming after us. There is a generation that is coming after the generation after us till eternity. Therefore, and this land that we have is going to be used by the same, for all the people that are coming. Therefore, we have to think ahead. How are they going to be accommodated? That is the whole essence of planning, that we live today and think about tomorrow, to make sure that today is comfortable, tomorrow is convenient, tomorrow is safe, tomorrow is economical, tomorrow is also functional.
All right. There are some things you said which I liked. You said it brings about security and also safety and also beauty. And I believe that when things are organized, everybody loves an organized environment. You see people traveling out, and when they get to overseas, they're like, wow, this place is nice. But don't forget, that is the work of a town planner, to make it organized. Okay, so yes, today we'll be talking about land use and land contravention. So we'll look at now how can, before we even go into that, town planner Oluwayinka, can you please explain to us, to the listeners, what is the meaning of land use planning?
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you once again. Land use planning is the organization
Okay.
of the spaces that we live in.
Okay.
And when factoring, just like it's been said earlier, land is a scarce resources. And we just don't want to put certain use in different places.
Okay.
And so when the essence of land use planning is to allocate, I use the word allocate. Different uses in the places.
Okay.
So we have residential, we have commercial, you have recreational, we have institutional. So basically it's putting together a lot of factors: social, economic, cultural, as so to speak. So it's just basically organization, putting use places so that it's functional.
Okay.
It will provide beauty within the environment, and of course accessibility for those that are using it as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. You said something that putting the right use in the right places.
Yeah.
Now, can you give us examples? Like, if you have a land, how do you put it into the right use? How can you do that? Is it maybe, for instance, there are things you're not supposed to do in a commercial area or in a residential area? So how do you do that?
Okay. So like FCT is unique.
Okay.
And you know, when designs are being initiated, these uses are allocated. Let me use the word residential commercial.
Okay.
So at the point of you having your allocation from the authority that are given it, you will see different uses. For instance, you at the point of application, they would tell you what you're applying for.
Okay.
Specific uses, a residential.
For the land.
Yes, for the land. So that comes in a format. So when you apply for it, if you're lucky you get it, you are being given. Now in that cascade down to when you want to start building, when you go to the development control offices that are in charge of implementing these uses, they have specific uses in different places that you cannot go outside of it. So for instance, residential, you cannot wake up as an individual and say today it is duplex I want to do in this place, or you know, like blocks of flat. No, there are specific, even within the level of residential. This should be high density, this should be low density, this should be medium density. Also, this is the number of families that you can have in this place. So it comes in that form that should guide everyone that is actually interested in it.
I love it. But she said something. She talked about high density, low density. Now, can you please explain the meaning of low density? Because you know our listeners there will want to know the meaning of low density and high density.
Okay.
Yeah.
In real life, men have different social status.
Okay.
You have those that have quite a lot of resources. That is to say, the high income group. You have people that are also low income. They don't have much money. And you have the people who are in between. Although it is always said that in Nigeria there are two classes. For now, there is no medium.
For now.
There is no middle class. We have majorly the high class and the low class.
Yeah.
Now, also, when you are designing towns, you create spaces according to the capacity of each person to use the land.
Okay.
That don't have much to afford. They can be in places that act.
Okay.
They can be in places that are affordable. They can be in places that expenditure on the dwelling place is manageable.
Okay.
At the same time, and that is what we call high density.
High density.
High density because the number of people who are going to occupy a space is more than the number of people that will occupy a similar space in a different zone. Now, for the people in the low density area, they have quite some funds to spend to make their environment more luxurious, and so you give them the space that they can manage and deal with effectively. That is so there the population is less than what you have in the high. For example, let me take a common area like this. In some places you have room and parlor. That is high density development.
Is that self-contained? Is that what it's called, self-contained?
No. Well, I mean, that is in a typical urban area. Commercial buildings that are meant for rentage. Some people do room and parlor, especially on the outskirts. Here, you can have self-contained, for the high density, within the city. And then, that the room, he has a place that he can keep his bed, and the parlor where he can receive visitors. And that is enough for him. He can manage all his problems and all his luxuries within that place. But when you go to the low density areas where the big men stay, you can have very spacious area and then all that stuff. So that is the difference. The number of people per unit area in the low density is lower than the number of people per unit area in the high density.
Okay, so the number in the lower density is lower than the people in the high density area, because those in the lower density, they have it's more luxurious, like you said, and they have a lot of money to spend at that time. Okay, all right. Now let's move on to the next question, and this is we talk about land contravention. Land contravention, and I know that a lot of people have been doing a lot of contravention in Abuja, if I must say. But for the sake of our listeners, they want to understand what is the meaning when you say land use contravention. What does it mean?
Land use contravention is basically when an individual or a group of person develops a land in a manner that violates, so I'm using the word violates the permitted or approved land use. So it's them not building according to what has been prescribed, or building in a place that doesn't even belong to them. Okay. Now I want to ask a question. Sometimes when I'm passing through, I see some buildings that are marked X. So what does that mean? Does it mean they've contravened something, the land use? Have they done anything that is illegal to what they're supposed to do? That's why the building is marked X? Usually when you see marking on a structure that way, could mean so many things. Number one, perhaps an individual is building and he doesn't even have any title to that land.
Wow. Okay.
So information, or maybe through inquiry, you discover that this does not even belong to this person. So developing is a land that doesn't belong to us. So it's a form of contravention. That is illegal development. Now, again, someone else can actually have the title and still build. But he's not having the permit to do that.
Sorry, he doesn't have the permit to build even when he has the title?
Yes. You can't just wake up and say, I have my money and then I want to start building. There are regulations. You must get permits from institutions that have been saddled with the responsibility of granting the permits. For instance, in FCT, you have Development Control Department, meaning that you come up with your design, what you want to do, you will submit it. They are going to look at what you want to build,
Okay.
and check whether it's okay.
Oh, no.
And then you also have to consider a lot of factors.
Okay.
Is the terrain okay? Is the soil able to contain what you are going to build?
Okay.
Is the environment, what is the implication of what you want to build on the environment?
Okay.
And so it contains a lot of things that the organization will have to go through,
Yeah.
you know, and check if what you want to build is suitable for it. So you can violate a land by building on a place that is not approved. Then you can be granted approval,
Okay.
but building something else. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So I'm telling you, you are supposed to build 2 floors,
And
then you now decide that, no, I remember my uncle somewhere, let me add an additional floor.
Oh my
And then
God.
I'm making it 3 floors. That will have violated, because perhaps you're expected to build to a certain height.
Okay, I get it now.
Do you understand? So
Yeah.
it's not every height that can go for a particular place. Maybe, oh, this is the number of heights that you can go. Maybe you can't go more than 3 floors
Okay.
or 2 floors. And then you now decide to then, I'm going to add additional 3. The person will have violated, contravene. So that's about what's called a land contravention is
Okay.
basically.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you for that information.
Yeah.
So that means before anybody wants to start building, the first port of call is to go to the town planning,
Absolutely.
and so that he can get, just like you said, maybe what he needs to do if he wants to build like a skyscraper or maybe a bungalow, he must get the permit. So that means a lot of people don't even do that. They just feel that, okay, since I bought the land, I can just do whatever I want.
Yeah.
So this is a call for our listeners out. You are thinking of building. Before you start building on that land, these are the places you need to go to. You have to go to Nigerian Institute of Town Planners. Go there
Absolutely.
so that you can, so that when you start building, you not find nothing will happen to you. You will not, they will not tell you that you have contravened the land or anything. Okay.
No, actually, you make an inquiry from a town planner,
Okay.
but you want to comply with the regulations.
Regulations.
Go to Development Control Department,
Okay.
because that is the authority that is constituted
Oh,
to
okay.
give development permits
Okay.
within the Federal Capital Territory,
Okay.
or even outside the Federal Capital Territory. Every state has the town planning board, or such an authority.
Okay.
Go there and confirm what you are supposed to put on this land and all the details before you start even drawing your plan.
Okay.
Then you'll be on the right path. And when you start developing it, make sure that you are doing it according to the approval. Now, the other thing, related to what she has said, is that you might build according to the approval that has been given to you.
Okay.
But in the process of using it, you bring other things to, instead of using it for residential purposes,
Okay.
you will now say, okay, this place,
Are the shops there?
I'm a medical doctor, therefore, I can use this place as hospital.
Oh,
Or
right.
I want to
Absolutely.
use part of this house for trading.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I can use this place as a commercial development, and
Legal
so on
shops.
and so forth. That is wrong use of land.
Land,
That's
wow.
not what was approved for you. Make sure that it is residential, if it is residential, and and then you'll be at peace.
Peace.
That is why in some places you see these marks on it. Now let me tell you that, when you see these marks on your building,
Yes.
it is not a condemnation per se. It is simply a question mark.
Oh, okay.
Are you sure what you are doing is consistent
Yeah.
with the approval? It's a question.
Okay.
It is not yet a condemnation until it is proved that what you are doing is inconsistent with the approval that was given to you.
Okay. All right. Now, we have something to
Yes,
add. Okay.
and just in addition to that,
Yeah.
you'll be so amazed that there are areas that has been reserved, like more like land banks for certain activities whereby you're not even supposed to have anything on it.
Okay.
And one of those places are flood areas.
Okay.
That some even buffer zones.
Okay.
That there shouldn't even be anything.
Okay.
And that's why, of recent, you'll be seeing issues of flooding.
Okay.
Yeah. So people contravening, building on places they're not supposed to build. Those are part of the implication of that. So it's not just having what. Is it okay
for you to do that?
How will it affect me and people that are surrounding
me to do that?
Or even the community that I'm staying.
Oh wow,
yeah.
That's a very solid information. Now we've been talking about land use planning. Then I have this question, and which is, how can land use planning improve land market and curb land speculations within the FCT? Since you're in Abuja, let's talk about Abuja now. So yes, how can we do that?
Okay, one thing that is cardinal to urban planning is that planning brings betterment.
Okay.
It improves the value of the land, because when it is planned, it gives you, easy access to the land, particularly when the infrastructure is installed.
Okay.
Now it is just like, let me give you an example. For example, maybe the region I come from.
Okay.
We like pounded yam.
Oh wow.
Now, yam is yam.
Okay.
Yam is good, but there are levels of enjoying this yam. It can be roasted, it can be cooked, but the utmost is when it is pounded. But when yam is there and it is raw, the value is not much
at that point in time.
Yeah. But when you cook it,
yes,
the value improves.
Increases.
Now that is how planning is, to the environment. As immediately you have done planning, you have given the direction of development. You are avoiding speculation.
Yeah.
Nobody can develop it anyhow. There is order, there is organization. And number one thing about order and organization is that anywhere it is instituted, you can ensure that there is improvement. Now, let me give you an example. Before 1976, the whole of where we call FCT today was more or less like villages and farmlands.
Yeah.
Now, you can come here at that time where there was no planning, until 1976, when the headquarters of Nigeria was moved into this place, it was more like a rural environment.
Yeah.
But when it was moved into this place and planning started, the value of land started increasing. Let's say about 20 years ago, where we are now, you can't get anybody that will even buy land for, let's say one plot of 1,000 square meters.
Yeah.
You won't see anybody that will buy it for 2 million.
But
if you have something like that today, because this place has now been well planned and organized, I'm sure you know the price of land.
Yes, the value has actually increased.
It cannot be less than 50 million.
Yeah.
Unofficially, a plot of 1,000 square meters now cannot be less than 50, 60 million within this place. That is what planning brings into an environment. It improves. Now, the whole essence of improvement, in terms of value, is that it improves, security. It improves convenience. It improves safety. It improves beauty. All these things are what makes life sustainable and livable. So these are the qualities that planning brings into an environment that we say that planning brings improvement. To the land market where there is no planning, it is all for speculation. Somebody can now begin to use his leg to draw, and you can be sure. That's why when you go to some houses, some people have bought land and they have developed it, but they have no roads to go to that. Sometimes when they buy a car, they take their car somewhere and trek to where their houses are. And that is it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. As you can see, a lot of information has been passed out. And the phone lines are now open for you to ask your questions. Okay? So they are here. The pros are here in the building. So you can ask them any questions. And the numbers to call are 090 73530044 or 090 9705 4459. I'll call the numbers again. 090-9705-4450 or 090-7353-0044. Now, so we've talked about land use. Now let's look at this question. When faced with urban planning matters, especially in Abuja, which institution do we contact when you're faced with that list, so that people can know if they have a problem? Like he said, you can make inquiries. If you want to make inquiries, you want to start building. Okay, where do I go to ask for more information? So can you please help us with that? Okay, sorry, I think we have a call. We have a call right now. Let's hold on to that. Okay. Oh, we missed the call. Okay, you call back in. So please, you can continue.
So the first person to contact, like I said, should be a town planner.
Yeah.
So, having said that, we have various institutions that are saddled with different responsibility to cater for the society land needs. And one of the departments I'm going to mention is, first of all, is Land Administration, Department of Land Administration. They are saddled with the responsibility of allocating the land for different uses. So if you are interested in getting a land, you go to them and get buy an application form.
Okay.
Fill the application form, and hopefully, if you're lucky, you will get. And then, upon getting your land, who do you meet for development? And like it has been said earlier, Department of Development Control, they are in charge of checking your design desire. Let me use the word desire. Yes, what you want to do. So they'll look at it, check if it's okay, check if it's suitable for what you want to do, and then also provide a guide from the beginning to the end. And then if you want things like parks, we have Parks and Recreation Departments. Parks and Recreation Departments are solely in charge of getting land for recreational purposes. And we also have Urban and Regional Planning. Urban and Regional Planning, they are like our Bible. You understand? They design the master plan of the city itself, FCT. So the Urban and Regional Planning Department, you want to check out the land itself, the approval for site development plan for a certain size. They are in charge of that. So they are the go-to people. And basically, perhaps I'll allow you to take in the call.
Okay. All right. So we've actually missed our time. Is already out of time. So if you have more questions to ask, there is a number where you can reach the Nigerian Institute of Town Planners, which I'm going to call, so you can write it down and you call and make inquiries. And the number is 08061219684. Again, 08061219684. Wow, today has been very, very, very enlightening. And I know that our listeners out there have gained a lot of knowledge today. And same time next week, 5 o'clock, we'll be here again with my professionals in the studio, here to attend to your needs. So it's bye-bye for us. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.